Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2014 Insight Innovation Exchange, brought to you by Green Book and Gen 2 Advisors, proudly sponsored by Research Now. My name is Ben Smithy. I'm CEO of Spike Market Analytics, and I'm here today with a good friend of mine, Mr. Steve August of Revelation, now part of the Focus Vision family. Steve, first of all, congrats.
Thank you, sir.
Second of all, Insight Innovation. What brings you out here? What do you feel like Insight Innovation Exchange does for our industry?
Sure. I'm really excited to be out here. Insight Innovation, it started really last year, and I've been watching it, and it's just amazing what it's been doing for the industry. I mean, one of the things that market research has had a really hard time getting its head around is trying to balance out, okay, we have norms and standards, but we also want to push things forward. And the world of technology is moving so fast and is having such a huge impact on marketing, on all the things, other aspects of business, and we have to seize that as well. And Insight Innovation has really been a leader in that, in the sense of bringing technology companies in, bringing people who are doing really innovative stuff, and creating a forum that really, I don't think has a real match for it in the industry right now.
When you look at innovation, right, you have a unique space where you're on the tech side, often heavily on the qual side. What does innovation look like from the online qual perspective right now, from your vantage point?
Yeah, so innovation is sort of like ideas applied, and applied practically. That's what innovation to me is. It can have really amazing ideas, they can be really creative, but if that creativity isn't applied to a practical application, then you don't have innovation. Innovation has to move things forward.
Absolutely.
So in the qual space, what I see is it's impacted by all the things that the rest of the business is impacted. Tighter timelines, tighter budgets, things like that. And qual has been, it's a little bit of a different game because it's a very interpretive process in qualitative. So by its nature, by its name, it's something that isn't necessarily easily quantified into numbers. So you have to make interpretations. That being said, there's so much inefficiency in certain areas of it, in getting participants into a particular study, in getting information from the collection point to the insight point to the communicate the findings point of the process. There's a lot of inefficiency that could be and should be and is in the process of being addressed through technology. So that's where I'm seeing it, is both in the speed to insight and then the analysis.
What about what's coming up next in the pipeline? When you look at the online research space, what things have you started to see? Because we see a lot of this sort of synthesis, synergy, aggregation, co-creation, collaboration, right? Whatever nomenclature you want to use. What's next? Especially, what are you looking at next from an innovation standpoint in online qual? What things are you trying to piece in and put in together as part of the puzzle, or what new things are you like, that's important?
Yeah. The ironic thing is, what's next from my point of view is we haven't figured out the basics.
Talk to me about that.
So 95% of qualitative research is still in person, believe it or not, according to the SMR stats. So that information is coming in and isn't integrated with the digital or the mobile information or other information, and it's still, we're using, I mean, you look at most qualitative people doing, or qualitative research who are doing analysis, and you're still seeing a lot of highlighters, a lot of markers, a lot of people doing really
sticky notes,
things like that, and it just, to me, it seems like we haven't mastered the basics.
So where's the brick wall that's keeping this thing from really flowing nicely?
There's a couple of things. One, there are people who have done a lot of work on analysis, but those analysis tools don't do collection. And we've had people who've done work on collection tools, but their analysis tools are rudimentary. And the fact is, you have to have both together, because if you think about what it means to flow that together, if you have a collection system, you've actually created a database that has all the parameters of the project. If you have to take that information out of that system and into an analysis system, you've just basically reinvented the wheel twice in the project. And you lose all that time and that entropy just to try to take advantage of the analysis tools. And the collection tools don't necessarily have the ability to do what the analysis tools do.
Absolutely.
That's level one. Then level two is, with 95% of research being qualitative, if you have a project that goes across, or being not qualitative, but in-person. If you have digital, like homework assignments or digital aspects, or things flow through both online and in person, How do you fuse that all together? So, and that's part of the collection and analysis kind of integration that needs to happen. Once we get that all together, then we have those options. And then the third layer is the technology's out there, the foundational technology's out there, the algorithms that can help us surface patterns within qualitative information is out there. The user experiences that are currently available to the researchers, are not fluid enough, so they end up back with highlighters and Post-it notes and sticky notes.
Just because it works.
It works, right? Because they don't feel like the technology supports their process.
Absolutely.
So that's the three levels that I think, just if we can master those and reduce the time in terms of connection to delivery of findings, by 25, 35, 50%, imagine what that means, over all the research that happens in the world. So to me, what's new or what's next has got to be kind of solving that puzzle.
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about a fourth layer now.
Okay,
and the fourth layer is the people, the researcher. A lot of the universities, the MSMR programs are focused on how do we, curate and develop and all of this new talent for the future. How do we attract top talent to come into research and guide our industry into the future? Not so much the hard skills. What are the soft skills that we're looking for? Who is the future researcher?
Sure.
What does the future researcher look like, sound like, feel like, talk like? What's the personality traits of a researcher that's successful in changing the game in the future?
Sure. So in my opinion, there's a number of different qualities that have to be there. It has to be empathy is one of the big qualities. Like, can you put yourself in the place of the customer, and can you use the information you collect to gather that picture and feel that and move that forward? Can you tell the story? Can you synthesize what information is coming in and piece what is the real story there that can actually explain what the business should do next? So there's storytellers, there's empathetic or empathic analysts, and I would just say people who are unafraid to essentially try new things and to apply things from lots of different practices, whether it's business intelligence, whether it's psychology. I mean, ultimately, what we do is understand people to answer business questions. So anything that we can do in terms of bringing other disciplines into the fold and apply them in really smart ways, I think people who are able to do that will go far.
Steve, thanks so much for joining us today, man. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Good seeing you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks, Ben.
We're here at the 2014 IIeX conference. You just heard from Steve August from Revelation. My name is Ben Smithy, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.